Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So at the end of last year, I posted a video on how to harden Firefox for better privacy and security. And as I mentioned in the video, which once again will be linked down below and in the end screen, some of the browser's default settings could be potential privacy and security risks. So if you are not using some of these default settings, there's a couple that could be turned off. Go check the video out for more info. Now, just to carry on from that video, basically a part 2 on a couple of more settings you can configure in Firefox to harden Firefox for better security. And it's a follow-on from that previous video. Now, obviously, if you are using any of these features, do not turn them off. It goes without saying. And this is just configuring default settings. We are not using experimental flags or features enabling and disabling about config experiments and so on. It's just using default features once again in the browser. Now, in no particular order, enhanced tracking protection. Now, this is actually something that is turned on by default in the browser. And today we're going to focus on the privacy and security page. And enhanced tracking protection has 3 kind of modes. You've got standard, you've got strict, which I don't recommend because may cause some websites to not display content or work correctly. But if you are more interested in security and privacy and are willing to take a chance on some websites not behaving, then you can always obviously enable strict. And then you've got, where's the next one? You've got custom. And yeah, as it mentioned, you can customize this to your own personal choice and preference. But I just suggest sticking, for your average home user, sticking with standard, which is the default option. Then the next is website privacy preferences. And for this, we're going to scroll down just a little bit further. And this section has 2 options, as you can see. The first is tell websites not to sell or share my data. And the next is send websites a do not track request. Now, I would suggest selecting the first option if you want websites to avoid selling or sharing information. Obviously, this may or may not work and also depends in your region. But as I've mentioned in a previous video, which I'll also leave a link down below and in the end screen, in regards to do not track requests, this feature is being removed, possibly in Firefox version 135, but go check that video out for more info. But I would at least toggle on tell websites not to sell or share my data. And then moving on to the next, and if we scroll down a little bit further, here we're going to get to website advertising preferences, which is quite a controversial setting in Firefox, as you may well know. And basically it allows advertisers to determine whether their ads were successful. Now, you can click on the Learn More link if you want more information, and you can see that this is grayed out in my browser. And that's because I have all the telemetry turned off. So if I check the telemetry, the data collection and use, you can see website advertising preferences is then turned on, but I have this all turned off. So that's grayed out, and I mentioned this in that previous video. As mentioned, go check that out. And then something else you can do is use a primary password. And for this one, we're just going to go up a little bit where we get to our passwords, and here you'll see use a primary password. And you can click on Learn More. So if you check the box, obviously here's where you can enter a primary password. Now, basically what this is all about is that once you set a primary password, you'll be prompted to enter it once per session. And then after entering the password, Firefox will automatically autofill your saved login information in the actual appropriate fields for that session. But if you want more information regarding that, click on the Learn More link. That'll give you more information. And then the last one for the purpose of today's video is checking deceptive content and dangerous software protection. And for this, we are going to scroll down once again. and that's under security, where it says block dangerous and deceptive content. And as far as I know, this is also turned on by default in Firefox, but just to double check that it remains so, because sometimes updates can uncheck different settings in different browsers. So basically what happens here is that Firefox checks the websites you visit against a list of reported sites known for phishing and other malware activities. So I suggest you turn all of those on. So there's just a couple of settings, as mentioned, basically a part 2 on how you can even further harden Firefox for better privacy and security if you would be interested. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.